My name is Katie, and thank you so much for making the time to chat with us today. I just wanted to, just talk you through the project you did, and we just wanted to get some sort of thoughts on your time with CCIR. Where are you located?
Okay, so I'm from Mumbai in India.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Is that where you are right now?
Sorry?
Is that where you are right now?
Yeah. Okay, so originally I'm from West Bengal in India, but I stay in Mumbai.
Very cool. And I'm just checking on the information on my side. Do you want to just tell me like what grade you're in, what year you're in, and what course did you do with us, and also like your research topic and things like that?
Sure. So I'm in 12th and I'm 17 years old. So 12th is equivalent to the senior year in high school.
Cool.
And I did the project on measuring rural inequality in India with a multidimensional approach. So it's basically a course on computational economics, and I did it under Dr. Daniel Gassese from yeah.
Okay, so how was I guess first before did you do a one-on-one research mentorship program or
Yeah.
future scholarship? Okay.
Yeah, I did the one-on-one research mentorship program.
Okay, very cool. And firstly, how did you sort of become interested in this topic, or how did you come into this topic in general?
Okay, so actually, since I was in ninth grade or so, I really liked social science because I in general like to deal with how the society works and the various international relations and all those things. And also, when I was very young, my dad put this idea in me that you should always believe in what that can be proven with mathematics. So I actually had a much of conflict to come somewhere in between because mostly subjects in social sciences, they deal with what has happened in the past, what we think can happen, but economics is something where there's mathematics and there's the society. So I made up my mind that whatever I do in future, I would stick to economics. So that's how I chose the subject. But then I happened to come across the CCIR and the courses that they offer. And I think Dr. Kasese told me like the things that can be done in economics, because obviously it was huge and I had very little exposure myself. So I was pretty confused as to what I want to do exactly. So then he pulled up these topics that this is something that you can explore, this is something you can explore. And then he kept asking questions, and then things happened to get clear in my mind. And then I finally reached the point where I decided that I want to work on inequality. And I want to start from India because this is where I have been grown up here. So this is the place that I know best. So that's how I reached my research topic.
That's very cool. And in terms of the sort of specifics on like I guess like the specific topic that you got to, like how would you say that your professor sort of supported you in discovering what you wanted to end up researching?
Yeah, so in the first meeting, I remember he asked me that, what do you want to do? I mean, what is the thing that you want to work on? So I gave him a very vague answer. I told him that I want to work in economics. And he said that, well, I'm aware of that, but what exactly in economics? What is the subject that actually interests you the most? So I said that it's poverty because that is the most evident economic phenomena that actually I see in my country. So, but then he got deeper into it, and he asked me questions that, okay, poverty, but then how do you think it is different from inequality? Because you said you're interested in that. Then he started getting deeper into things, and then he provided me with literature and I read them over a couple of weeks, and then I finally decided. Then he told me like the tools that I can use to actually calculate the inequality quantitatively. So that's how I reached on, like actually using a multidimensional GD index to calculate inequality. And then we moved on to the census or the data frame that we used for our research.
That's very cool. And was this your first time sort of doing a quantitative analysis of data like this? And also, I'm super curious to know how you found like using the census, because I see that you used the census of 2011, right? What
Right.
was because obviously I was also a sociology major when I was in university, and that's all very intimidating stuff. And yeah, I'm just curious to hear like how your experience was using it and stuff.
So, firstly, it was pretty mind-boggling because when we began with it, it was so huge. I did not know what to do with it because I was using the rural census of India. So it actually had 60,000 rows and 200 columns. So I was pretty much that I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But then we slowly got into like how can we club the different types of variables that is mentioned in the census, because not every variable is quantitative. There were some variables which dealt with yes or no answer, or maybe how would you rate this, so answers like that. So we had to actually shrink the data size to something that we could deal with and something that would give us answers that would be helpful in determining inequality per se. So that was a pretty major process. And actually, I did not have any exposure to any kind of research before this. So this was the first time that I was actually doing a research. And when I started out, I did not even know how to read a research paper properly because I got so confused because it was so big terms and big words, and so it was pretty tough for me to actually settle in the first place. But then Dr. Kesse's made it really easy for me. Like he broke down stuff and he told me that what are the main things that we need to focus on, and how to sideline the other things and actually get the result that you want to get. How to actually see a picture in the census that you were using. So then we finally got onto it on paper, and then we used, like, there were around 37 columns which dealt with education,
Mhm.
and then we brought it down to one column. So we assigned different kinds of weights and then actually aggregated them. And then we did the same with healthcare and income. And then we finally found a data set which had income, education, healthcare, and water supply. So finally, I did it with all the villages in India and these four, variables. So
That's
that
very
was
interesting.
yeah.
Wow. And I'm sure you found there were so many findings from your research, but what were the kind of maybe key ones, or also the ones that were most interesting to you that came out of, yeah, I'm sure like all of the analysis that you ran.
Yeah, so firstly, there were ones which pretty much surprised me because I knew that India is poor, but I never even imagined it so poor.
Mhm.
Because it's, and more than poor, I think, because we were dealing with the rural census, it kind of showed the difference that is there between the cities and the villages in India. Because I myself live in Mumbai; it's a major city. But when I know, like, there are around 5 hospitals in my neighborhood alone. But when I see the data for rural India, there are around 10 villages having one small healthcare unit. So those I mean, just seeing those results, it was pretty. I should say horrifying on my part, and even on Dr. Casete's part, he could not believe a lot many times. He said that the data should be wrong. So it was pretty much like that in the first sight. But then as we went deeper into it, we like mathematically got a few conclusions. So mainly we found the multidimensional Gini index, and that value even came to be like like pretty much suggesting there was more inequality in the society, because when we actually headed towards a Rorschach measure, the value went up to a huge extent. So it was, I mean, it was very evident that the kind of inequality that was existing in the society, and I was pretty much impressed. I mean, how we can just change one parameter and actually gauge the idea. So that was pretty interesting. And apart from that, I started out with a paper by Agnes Deaton, which said that the social variables in economics, suppose education or health, they do not depend on your individual income. So that was pretty much because the idea that I had was about the, suppose I am earning a lot, that means I can obviously afford better healthcare or better education. That should not, I mean, my individual income would obviously affect that. That's the kind of idea that I had assumed. And that completely got changed through the research, because I used my data to even prove that there was way more collinearity between health and education than there was between income and those factors. So that is the result that I kind of proved through my data set that Deaton had predicted in his paper.
Wow.
So these were the major findings of the work.
That's very cool. And in terms of I think those are very valuable findings to have discovered. And are you planning on, are you on the route of like publishing it, or is there anything in that sort of space?
So I already presented it in Sigma Psi conference. It's a
cool.
youth conference, yeah. And I got I got evaluation from their side, and well, they kind of appreciated the work, and I think that's pretty much it for now.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, to have accomplished that, like, at this stage is obviously more than like most university students can say, honestly. But I'm sure it was just, yeah, it sounds like it was a very nice experience, like just to sort of enter that space and see what it's like to publish or like go to like a conference or things like that. And I also wanted to ask you, like, in terms of, I'm assuming, are you applying to like universities at the moment?
So I am currently, I'm giving my final term examinations for my high school level, and in India, the admissions depend on the grade that you get in your high school examination.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I cannot really apply right now because I'm not really looking forward to foreign universities at the moment. And so the Indian universities start the admission process much later. So I'm kind of in between. I'm not really in the high school anymore, and neither have I applied anywhere.
So you're like
So
preparing for exams, basically.
yeah, exactly.
Cool. And so this kind of research experience or research project, is it something like, do you feel like it will in the end benefit you, even though you are going to like a Indian university and things like that? Like, how do you feel that this research experience has influenced like what you want to do in the future and that kind of stuff?
Well, I'll say that I mean, independent of where I'm going to study or what university I'm pursuing, this has been one of the best exposures up till now, because it has really widened the horizon, and I had absolutely no clue as to what a research project is per se. And this mentorship program, it has actually, like, it taught me a lot of things, a lot of things. So I can now at least open a research paper and read it through. I know which parts to read, which parts to focus on, how to go about it, how to not get scared by the big words and all those things. And so it has been a wholesome experience overall, and particularly in terms of higher studies, yeah, I think it would surely help me. Like, if I apply for internships or post graduation, I think it's surely going to help me even if I do research in the future, because this has been I feel that this has been a very, very strong base to start with.
Definitely. And I don't know exactly how Indian universities work, but are you thinking about going into like the sort of economics or like sort of sociology space? Is that, or do quantitative analysis? Is that something that you still want to do?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. This actually, hardened my will to do economics. I mean, I knew that I wanted to do economics, but I was not very sure because obviously I had no exposure and I'm a high school student after all. So I was a bit confused, but after this, I'm so sure that I want to do research and I want to do research in economics.
I
So
guess
yeah.
your dad was right in the end, right?
Sorry, the call
I
got
guess
cut.
you said that your dad was the one who told you to do economics in the beginning, right? I guess
No, no, he did not ask me to do anything as such, but he very much focused on the point that you should do something that can be proven with mathematics.
I
So I
see.
said, yeah, fine, yeah, economics.
I see. And we always like to, so the next question I have is, we always like to emphasize like the role of the sort of the mentor that you get to work with in our programs. Um, and they obviously are not there just to sort of transfer information to you, but to also provide you with guidance, I guess. And I just wanted to ask on like, is there anything specific you want to speak to that with the professor who was your mentor, or like, yeah, like how has that helped you?
Okay, so that was, I would say that was the best part of the whole program because Dr. Kesese has been wonderful guide and it never actually felt like, he's a professor of Cambridge. It never gave out that vibe, and it was more of like a friend talking to me. So he made it so easy, and he made like it was really tough stuff, and he actually broke it down and simplified it, and it was a great experience overall. And even because I was in my high school was running at the time, I was pretty caught up in between. Like I needed gaps, and he was so very cool about it. He said that you can take as much time you want. There's no rush. It's your project. You have all the time. Take it and let it absorb the things. Don't just hurry through it. It's an experience. So it was great working with Dr. Kasese, and we discussed many things other than economics, and those were great too. I mean, they were really, really wonderful sessions, like all the ones that we did. So yeah, I think it's great, like the platform that CCIR offers, and this was probably one of the first times that I got to learn from someone other than an Indian national, and that was a bit different for me because I got to know a person from another country. I got to know about his society, about his culture, and that was pretty great. So yeah,
That's very cool. I love that. Yeah, it sounds like
yeah.
you guys had like a very good working relationship, and I feel like the guidance of especially around like the fact that it's up to your schedule is something that people learn when they go to university and do research. Because I know that at least for me, when I was in high school, it felt like deadlines were like the end all be all for everything. And so if you couldn't reach a deadline, you would feel like, all of the pressure was on you. But the reality of like doing research that you care about is like that you get to choose when, because it's just dependent on the project. It's not dependent on like you have to reach this, reach that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm really glad that you definitely had that experience. And the last question I have for you is, what would you say to someone who asked you what the value of doing a project or program like this is, especially to like another high school student, so like your peers?
Okay, I should say that anyone having the opportunity should at least try to doing at least one such project because I mean it is so different from what we do in high school. We are generally bound to syllabus and studying and kind of in the Indian system mugging up facts. So it's really a break from it. It helps you to think critically and actually ask questions. And another thing that I actually learned from this is being precise about my thoughts. So what happened is when we think about something, we think on a very vast perspective. I mean, we don't go in the depth of it. But this actually helped me understand that what is the exact precise thing that I want to know about this particular subject or the topic. So I think that is pretty much helpful. Even if I say in terms of writing answers in your school papers, it helps you bring it to the point. It does not let you write stories about everything else. So I think, yeah, I would definitely recommend it to someone who is looking forward to doing a research program like this.
Very
That's it.
cool, very cool. And if you had the opportunity to like continue the research that you've done, like what would be like the next thing that you want to kind of look into or do a research project on?
Okay, so firstly, I have not thought much about it, but I would surely want to do something in economics, obviously, but more than something, I think I want to explore more mathematical tools that can actually explain the problem that I did more precisely. So, for that matter, there was a symposium conducted by the CCIR. I think you were there. Yeah. So there was this person who asked me certain questions, and that actually, gave me a space to think of what more can be done or what better can be done in the in the project that I did. So he asked me about certain limitations of my work. So I think I would like to work on those limitations and how closer I could get to the preciseness. Maybe not on the same data set, maybe a different data set or different approach. But I want to do something in that.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I hope you get the opportunity to, because I feel like this
Thank
is
you.
definitely work that you seem very passionate about. Yeah, but that's most of the questions from my side. And once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, it was really nice to talk through your research with you, especially because I definitely have like a personal bias towards the more sociology, economic side of the projects. So it was very, very nice to chat with you.
Same
Yeah, I think
here.
that's
Yeah.
all from my side. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No, that's pretty much it. You asked all about it, and I think yeah, it was a wonderful experience, and I really want to thank CCIR for actually giving this platform to high school students. It is wonderful. Yeah, thank
Amazing.
you.
We'll let the team
Yeah.
know. And thank you so much for your input and for chatting, and best of luck with your exams. I know they're gonna
Thank
go
you.
well. Don't even worry about it. Yeah, and let us know like where you end up and things like that because we would love to
Sure,
keep in
sure,
touch. Okay.
sure. Thanks so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Have a good day. Cool. Bye.
Bye bye.